Hello, I'm going to show to-do list in React. When we come to our app, we can use walk to school. Walk to school and use the button and the row is show up. For the second row, we can use go to cinema. And when we use the button, the other row shows up. So we can have delete and update here. With the X we can delete the rows, and with this icon we can update the walk to school. We can change it to walk to park and update it. So let's do coding. For coding we should use command prompt. It looks like the how to go to the file. For the express we can use mk there to do list and enter cd to do list and enter. And for going directly into VS Code we can use code space and dots, and our VS Code is coming up. So for having the React app we should use npx create React to do list app like this, and it's take a time. So npx okay. Oh, I forgot to write the app at the end of the create React app. So npx create React app to do list app and then enter. It takes a little time to creating the React application. So for restarting our website from React we have two options. We can use yarn or npm. It depends on you. If you install yarn you can use the yarn start, but because I have the npm in my VS Code so I use npm. So for this part I used to use cd to do list app, and then oh sorry, I made a mistake for typing. To do list app and then npm start. Because I have a local host in my 3000, it gives me error, so I need to use yes here to go to React app. So it's starting the React app. and I need to clear some of the files because I need to add new things to my files. So I need to go to here in source. I don't need the logo and apptest.js and report web.vital.js and setupset.js. I can delete them together. Yeah, yes. And it's showing me error. So for get rid of this error, I should go to in app.js and get rid of this line, and I don't need them, so I can delete them from here. And for this problem, I should go to index.js. I need to delete it from here and delete this line and save it. It's gone. So I have the problem for logo as well. I deleted that, but I don't know why it's giving me the error. Maybe because of, I will find it later. So I don't need this one as well. I can delete them from here. Okay, everything is good here. I need the comma here, and I can come back to here, save. Okay, so first we can use hello world, and get it in the our app. So what happens here? Save that, but it's not working. Oh, I got the hello world here. Okay, for now I can use the header to do list app. Save it, and I have it here. And right now I need to add something for having to-do list app. So I need to add new folder here with name of the components, and then I should have 3 files inside the components: to do form.js, to do list.js, and to do.js. So for React we need to use the snippets because it gives us everything easier. So for that we can go to extension here and search for ES7, and if you don't have the React in your laptop or computer, you can install it from here. So after that you can come back into your Todoform.js and use our CFE, and when you use this, it's automatically gives you React function and you can work on it easily. So for this part I need to make a form here. So I need to use import React from Act and add use state here, to access the component from the use state, and then in below the function I can define the value for use state. So constant array input and set input. Oh, it's just input, and it's equal to use state. For now I put the empty string here, and after that we will change it later. So for this part I need to use the form. So we delete the div here and use the form for this part. So use form and use the class name here, class name equal app to do form, to do form, and then we use the input here, and inside the input I need placeholder equals add to do, and then value is equal curly braces input, and name is text, and class name is to do input, and I think we are good to here now, so we can go and put the button right here, button. The class name of the button equal to button, and here we can use add to do and just save it, and then we should go to in app.js, and below this one we should use to do form, and when we use the enter it doesn't work. It's important to do from our components. If you didn't get the to do from imports from the components, you can use the space and enter, and then you get that easily. So we can save it, and should constant is not defined, input is not defined, so we should go back into Todoform. Let's check what would happen. So user state is correct, so we use constant, so we should use const. So let's save it. Okay, right now I have the add to do form and the button, but when I use the add to do button it doesn't do anything. So
carrying on from there, we're going to add some functionality to actually update this field and populate this list rather than refreshing. we're actually going to add some data here. So first thing we need is to handle change with a little nested thingy method. So lambda arrow. Oh, why did I do that? And set input to use target value. That's it for that, and we just need to handle the submit button. Same deal. And for this one, we're going to prevent defaults and set properties to create an item with an ID. So just like this, the ID is going to be a random number because it's quick and easy. Set to 10,000 because it's nice and high. And then the text is just going to be input. Okay, now next thing we gotta do is just do the front end on submit. Whoops. On submit. Handle submit. And then on change, we're going to handle change, just like so. Oh yes, gotta have brackets in the props. Then for to-do list, just RCFE again, just like we did with Todoform. And then we're going to import React with use state. And then within the function, just add this funny little thing. For our to-dos to work. Then another little nested method. Add to do, which takes in to do. Then we add a couple of things: an array with to-do objects, and then call set to-dos up here, and then we just log it to the console to show results. Let's do it. This will take in to-do and to-dos, and it's gonna keep all completing it to React or some bullshit for you, so just hit escape whenever that comes out for each little dot. So there's the array, then set to do's, then login. And then you just give this page a nice little header. What are the plans for today? And and we're just gonna pass in this to-do form. We can just hit enter to auto import it on submit equals pass in add to do. Close it off and think it should work. Just gotta update it in that. Instead of to-do form, swap it out with to-do list. Because to-do list will always be calling to-do form anyways. And then let's give it a go. Seems we got an arrow. An arrow. New to-dos is assigned to value button. Never used. Maybe I gotta pass in to-dos as an argument. Might need a reference just to help me out here. I just learned this, so I stumble a little bit. To-do list. That's right. What's wrong here? Let's give it another go. Gonna actually have to take a second and look around for whatever's being janky. Don't need that. New to-dos equals. Set to-dos. Got passing new to-dos. That's why. There we go. And as you can see, just enter something, add to do, and got populated, but still refreshing. I have to go back and see what else is going on, I guess. See what else we missed. Maybe in Todoform. Forgot to prevent default on handle submit. It's very important. Alright, clean it up, and then add to do, and kapow! New item added to the list. And then ZCV, kapow. More items will be added with a bunch of randomized IDs, so on to the next part.
Alright, so continuing on our theme of making a little to-do app here with React, we're going to start with a new component, todo.js. But first, before we do that, we got to make a function. We're going to use the function in the new component, so we better get it done first, just for, to keep a good order. So this one's going to be called complete to do, and this one we're giving an ID, and we're going to do an arrow function here, and inside of it we're going to do let updated to-dos equals to-dos.map, and you'll see this to-dos.map again soon. And then we're going to do an arrow function with to-do here. So we're letting this function here equal a map of to-dos with an arrow function into in here, and in here we're going to do if to-do.id equals id. So that what this is doing is going through, it's mapping the to-dos that we have, and it's checking, is the ID that was inputted into the function, is it equal to the ID of the to-do in question? And if it is, in here, what we're going to do is we're basically going to take to-do.isComplete, and we're going to flip it. So what this allows us to do is whenever we, call this with an ID, we can flip the isComplete status, so we can, be like, yep, I've completed this, this is going on, or, if you did it by accident, you can just click it again, and it'll flip it again, and it'll just be no longer complete. So this will be useful later. We're also going to return the to-do here. That's important. And under here, we're going to do set to-dos updated to-dos. Spell that right. And this is our complete to-do function. So now that we've done that, we're going to make a new component. So we're going to select the components folder, and we're going to call it todo.js. Inside here, we're going to type RFCE. We're going to use that that plugin that we were doing before, and we're going to go, yep, sounds good. We're taking that, and it's going to give us this nice little framework. If you don't have that little snippets function that I used, take some time now, pause, and copy this or write this in, because this is what we're going to use just as like the base function. Yeah, okay, so now that we have this, there's one thing we just need to do when we start. Inside this function, we're going to use some curly braces, and we're going to feed it to-dos in that complete to-do function that we created before. This is just, what we're going to give as parameters to the function, and this is something that we're going to feed it later, but this is just something we need to write now. So on top of that, we also want to import useState. Just like the rest of the components here. It's important because we'll be using states. We'll be taking good advantage of those. And one last one at the top here. We're importing the Todoform from .todoform. This is important. We're going to need it. So yeah, we're gonna import it. So now up here at the top of the function, we're going to initialize that same kind of object. The const. We're going to call these edit and set edit, but the more important part is we're doing use state. And in here, we'll put some more stuff in here later, but this is just the important part, is that we're using the state function of React, and that'll allow us to do those, live update and cool stuff. In here, we're going to make it pretty much just a blank object. We're going to set the ID to null and the value to blank, but this just gives us a schema to work with, and will let us, we'll work with an object of the correct forms and fields. So now, instead of returning just a normal div like this, we'll be returning a map. So returning to-dos.map. Why are we doing this? Is because we want to give a mapped object of indexes and to-dos into it, and we want to be able to go one by one through those to-dos, and we want to print them out, not print them out, but put them into divs and show the individual rows that have each to-do item in it. So in order to do that, we're going to start by two brackets here, to-do and index. So this is what we're mapping here, and we're using an arrow function here to point it towards another open bracket, and in here is where we're going to be writing our little tables. So div class name, this will be the first div we have. We're going to use the curly braces for some code inside our div tags here. And what we're going to do is to-do.isComplete. Yeah, we're using that isComplete thing. We're using the ternary operator. So on the left side is true, on the right side of the colon is false. So if it's true, is complete is true. We're doing to do row, and we're going to set it to complete. And so what about if is complete is false? Well, then we want to set it to just to do row. So again, is complete is what we're testing with the ternary operator, and if it's true, we're going to say it's complete, and we can use this styling tag here, the class name, to style it later and into whatever we choose. You know, if we want everything striked through, if we want to hide it, we can do anything now that we've set the class name using this is complete variable. We're also going to give it a key. This key is index, and that's just a good point of reference here. Oh, looks like we set up the wrong curly braces. This is how they're supposed to look. Always an important error to look out for. And then we're going to close the div tag here and press enter. So inside this div tag, we're going to have some more divs. Here the key is instead todo.id. And then on click, we're going to do an on click function here, and it's going to equal some more curly braces, so we can put some code in there. We're going to do an anonymous function, and then I'm going to say complete to do, and then input the ID from this row. We're going to close off that div, and we'll put some text in here, but let me explain this quickly here. So this div is containing an on click. So when you click on the contents of this div, it's going to say a complete ID using the key ID that you've provided it. And this is all thanks to the ability to map, which is pretty much, you know, going one by one and giving their IDs to this and giving all the appropriate values. So now that we can do that, we can also do to-do.text. So in here, inside this div, we're simply just displaying the text of the to-do. So if you click on the to-do, it'll call complete to-do for this to-do. So if you see a row that has a, you know, walk the dog or something, and you click on it, it has the ID saved, it knows it because it's the key here, and then you click complete to-do, so that will flip the status of is complete, and you know, we'll set it to complete or set it to incomplete. And that's very useful. So we're also going to do some more. We're going to do a div tag here, and inside we're going to do another class name, and we're going to say icons, because in here is where we want to work with the icons. So we're using a library called React Icons. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the terminal here, make sure it's in our root of the folder. If you don't have VS Code, then you can open a terminal and bring it to the proper location. Otherwise, VS Code just has a very useful feature, new terminal. And we're going to say npm install react-icons. I already have it installed, so I won't be running it. But this is how you install the package React Icons. Or if you're using Yarn, you would use yarn add React Icons. And that's how you get it if Yarn is your package manager. We're using npm, so we already did the React the import with our npm install. So what are we going to do with that now that we have it? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some imports. We're importing ri close circle line from React Icons RI. So what are we doing here? So we want a specific icon. We know where it is from React -icon/RI. So we've picked this already, but if you go to the website for React Icons, you can find any of the particular ones you want, and there's plenty of different styles. This is just the one that we've pre-picked for this situation. We also have another one that we want. We want TI edit. So these two buttons will form our edit and our delete buttons. So this one is an edit button, you can see you have a TI delete, and this one is a little bit harder to understand, but it's close circle line, which is close. This is an important one. We're closing, so it's a delete button. All right, so now that we're inside our div for class name icons, this is where we're going to put the icons. So it's very simple. You just do RI, and it'll autofill here actually. And there you have your icon. There'll be an icon right here in this div. You can skip all those CDNs and those annoying imports and stuff just by using the React Icons. So here we're going to put the other one that we did, the TI edit. We're going to close that tag. So now we have those two. And there's one last thing we have to do before we're going to take a quick look at the work that we've done. And we're going to go back to our to-do list.js. In here, this is what's important, because right now we have our form here, but we haven't added that new to-do component that we have. So we got to add it, to-do, but this isn't all. This to-do thing needs some, as we said, as we put before, it has some inputs that we need. So we need to go back to do list and we need to give it that. We need to say to-dos equal to to-dos. We're inputting that into the variable, and it has another one. It has complete to-do. And that one is equal to this function that we created up here, complete to-do. So now that we've done that, there's one last thing we got to do to make that work, and that's to import to-do from /to-do. So we've created the component, we've imported it, we're calling it in our return statement here, we're giving it the proper variables. So now we can take a quick look at what we did. So I'm going to do npm start. That's the command if you're using npm to launch it. It's going to start the development server. We'll take a second to load. It's got some warnings, but those will be covered later. So what do we got? Well, we got this. We got a form. Let's put some text in it. And it shows up. So this is what we've done. We've created this row, this div. So let's inspect the element and see what we got here. So we can see we have the div class, to-do row complete. That's because we clicked on it. So if you see we click on it, it's changing between to-do row and to-do row complete. So we can use styling to take advantage of that, and we can do whatever we want eventually. We also have these icons here. This is what we imported. And we can use those later. We can do on-clicks for them. We can add functions to them. But right now, they're just part of the row. And we can add another one. We can add whatever we want. They'll be their own row. And you can see over here in our inspect element that we're toggling it every time. It's live updating because we're using the states and we're using React. So we now have our tiny list that's being added. It's got the icons for each individual row, and we'll expand further this in the next videos, in the next part of the video.
So I'm gonna start from where we were left off. So I will add here click event click equals to curly braces parentheses, and over here it's arrow, and then it goes to remove to do and then bracket, then it goes with todo.id, and here I have to go with class name is equals to delete icon, and we will just copy paste this one in this one too, but just we have to remove this one, and here we have to write set edit and parentheses curly braces goes with id, which has to do dot id, and then its value is to do dot text, and the class name will be instead of delete it will be edit because it is gonna be edited. So we have to write edit over here. We also have to add remove to do in case it to work. So I have added here remove to do. I'll save it. So now we will go to to-do list. That coding will not show anything. It will just show the icons over there. So to get them functional, we have to do some coding over here. So we have to code in here in between these two things. So we will go with const, then remove to do. In case the remove to do to work, to delete that to do, we have to code this one as equals to id, and it goes to here, and then I have to again write const, then remove r. Remove r is equals to, it will remove and it will remove the to do which has been added from the array. So from all the to dos dot filter, to do will go at, oops, sorry, to do dot id, which is not equal to id, and here it goes to equals to, and we will set our to dos with remove r. So this code still will not remove the to do from the list. For that we have to pass the parameter over here, and we will go with remove to do is equals to, in curly braces we have to write remove to do. So this will work if we want to remove anything from that. We can just see that set clock. If I add that to do, if I want to delete that, I can delete that. So this is the function for that one. So now the way we added remove to do, we have to add update to do too. For that we have to go with the const update to do is equals to, we'll go with this, and we have to do id comma value, which goes with update to do, and here it comes if new value is not equal to, new value to text is not equal to, or let's just do one thing. It's that the same thing, we can just copy paste it so that it cannot be misspelled or anything like that. But instead of just this to do, we have to write new value, and here also we have to write the new value, and we have to set this to do's. So to set to do's, we have to go with ref dot map, which goes with item like this. Then we can write item dot id, which is equals to do id question mark new value. Does that, is that equal to new item? So that would be it. Oh, I am given the space in here, which is wrong, so we have corrected that one. And to pass this value to, we have to go in here, and we have to write here update to do, like the way we did remove to do, So update to do and curly braces closed. So we will save this one, and now we will go to todo.js. What's happening? Yeah, we are here. So here, the way we did the remove to do, we will go with update to do for updating it. So for that, we have to write const submit update is equals to value which goes in update to do and edit. So we have to write it here, edit, and then set edit. Sorry, set edit, and then we will go with equals to use use state parenthesis curly braces and then id whose value will be null and then value will be returned whatever will be the value here and yeah here it's not that brackets, it's this one. Oh, I made a mistake, I think. Yep, I made a mistake. I was sorry. This is not the thing. So, sorry for that. So we'll go with this edit.id, comma, value. I just messed it. Delete it, update this, and then we have to set edit, edit, set edit, parenthesis, curly braces, id which is null, comma, value is equals to this, and here I have to do this one, and here, comma. So to pass this value, we also have to add in here submit to do. Oh, it would be update to do. We will save that one. So now we are almost about to done, but just to add extra clarity in our website, in our form, we will just go in my form, like Todoform, and you have to go to import use state, and you have to import like use use effect and use ref. Why it is showing me error? Oh, I haven't put comma in here. Okay. So now to make it in a command, we will use here const effect and brackets, one more parenthesis with arrow in here, this, which gives the input ref dot.
And now for the most fun part of the app. But before we begin, we're going to make a few modifications to the todoform.js file. On line 5, at the end of the line inside the useState argument brackets, we're going to add props.edit and props.edit.value with an empty quote. just like so. And now for the results to show up, we just need to parse this stuff in a return div and add another div for updating. Or another input anyways. We're gonna cut the divs. So on the return, down at the bottom within the form, go props.edit. And then we're just gonna throw this input here at the bottom into the arguments. So go ahead and cut that, paste it in there. Then paste that twice. So you can have functionality to update and add to-dos. Now you can see that we can add items to a list. Give updating a go. And that works too. And we can delete. And great. Final touches to the coding of the app are complete. We have a functional app. And now we are going to clean it up and make it look pretty. It's time for some CSS. Now rather than rambling through a bunch of typing and fixing shit, I'm going to show you chunks of code one at a time to make you process it a little more easily. So with this little bit of code, it should get you a nice little starter template like this. And now we're going to fancy everything up in the middle. So to get everything looking like this, here's the code for that in a sec. So that'll make the input in the button a nice little purple effect. But the menu items is still pretty basic for now, so we're gonna add some code to make it pop. So just put this code in line 95 like this, and then bam, much better. And another cool thing we can do is make the list nice and easy to navigate with a bunch of different colors for each different item. There's the code for the input and button there again. And the different colors aren't showing now, but for now, it's still laid out all nice like this. So it's basically complete for now. And this is all the code at once. If you want to just go through this part and grab a coffee, listen to some music while you bang it out, then that's fine as well. Just have this part muted so you don't have to listen to me ramble if you just want to quietly go along with it. Like, it's just regular CSS, so should be pretty easy to put in. And then after that, you just attach it to each HTML element. And then if you've done everything right, then your app should look like this. And with everything at once, then just as promised, every item is a different color to make your eyes, to make it nice and easy for your eyes to navigate. So if you're able to get to this point, then great job.